All right, let's create a quiz using Google Form. So one of the first things you need to do is obviously log in and then go to your app switcher here. Click on your app switcher, those little 9 dots there in the top right-hand corner. When you click on your app switcher, up comes your apps, your Google Apps. Scroll down to Forms, click on Forms. Then when you click on Forms, your Google Forms screen pops up. And as you can see, I have multiple quizzes in my box, but let's create a new one for you. So what I'm going to do here is click on a new one, blank new one. And this one I'm creating for one of our math department members. So I'm going to title it Math Quiz. And then you can put a form description, describe what it is, end of year quiz, end of year test, whatever it is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a picture. Well, actually, the first question I'm going to give is to make sure you put the student's name in. So because our Google Forms will grab all of the email addresses for our students, they won't grab the names of the students. And so therefore you'll have a lot of email addresses that are numbers, but you won't have any of the students' names. So you want to make the first question the name, ask the students for their name. So first question is first and last, first name and last name, however you want to do it. It doesn't matter how I write it in. My students will always write their first name in, and then some students will put their last name in. So if you tell them, you'll get them the bulk of the way that they should be. And you just leave that as short answer because then they can just write in their first and last name, obviously. And then you make that one required. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to make creating this quiz as simple as possible because many of you already have quizzes and workbooks. And so therefore what we're going to do is we're just going to add a picture of the workbook page. And there are a variety of ways you can do it. This is just one way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on image because I already have an image of the workbook page. So I'm going to click on image. And then I'm going to go to my Google Drive because it's saved in my Google Drive. And then I'm going to go to recent because I just uploaded it to my Google Drive and here it is. So I'm going to click on that and then I'm going to insert it into this Google form. Okay, so my first question is first name and last name. Then I put a picture of the image for my math quiz. And so I just want to give that a title and we can just call it test form 2A because it's right out of our workbook. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I scroll down. You can see the little image scrolls down with me. And I want to make sure that I create each question. Well, I don't have to recreate the question. All I have to do is create numbers 1 through 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create question 1 through 7 and make them multiple choice. So we'll just do question 1. We're going to make it multiple choice. And we're going to say, and you can do multiple choice where it's check boxes too, or you can just write in A, B, or C. I'm going to do check boxes, so it'll make it a little bit easier. And I'll just put A, and then the next one. See, with Google, it gives you the suggestion. You just add them all, A through D, and there you go. And then you move on to the next. And we'll do question number 2. Same thing, check boxes. Start with A, and then Google will give you the suggestion where you can add them all, and you see how that pops up here. Add them all, and now I can keep going all the way through and do question 3, and do the same thing check boxes, A, take my suggestions, and I do that all the way down until I create all 7 questions. And then I make all of these required so that the students are required to answer each questions or each question. And then at the top somewhere, you may want to make sure that you give some very specific instructions about what the students need to do. You can move over here once you've created all of your questions for your test. You can come over here to settings, and when you click on settings, it asks you for your general information and whether or not you want to collect emails. You can do that, or you can just click right over to quizzes. And once you do that and you say you want to make this a quiz, then it immediately will grab all of the student email submissions. So when you go back to general, once you've made this a quiz, usually it says it's already done it, but in this case, we'll just do it anyway. Click on collect email addresses, and you want to limit each student to 1 response. If you want them to be able to edit their submission, you can. That just allows them to go back in and change things. But I usually do not, especially if it's a quiz. Go back over to quizzes, turn on lock mode, and that's if they're using one of the district Chromebooks, then it will lock it in so that they can't go to various web pages and look for the answer. But if they have the book, since most of them are at home right now, if they have the book, they can look and see how to do it. So turn on lock mode is what I usually do when I'm giving the test in the classroom. And then they can receive their test questions after they can see their answers and what they got correct after I've graded it. Sometimes I'll say later after manual review, or they can see it immediately after each submission. And they can see their missed questions, correct answers, and point values. And then I just click save so that that saves. And then what happens is when you scroll down and you look at each question, what it does is it gives you the option to put in an answer key. So whatever the answer is, you can put in what the correct answer is. And so after they've submitted their test at the very end, it will give them how many points they got correct. So you give it a point value, 5 points, 2 points, whatever. You mark the answer that is correct. I don't know which one is correct, but I'm going to mark B just for example sake. Then you click done, and then you go down to the next one. You do the same thing for question number 2. Maybe question number 2 is C. The correct answer is C. So you click on answer key, click C, give it a point value. Maybe this one is 2 points, whatever. Then you click done. Then you scroll down. Question number 3, the answer key. Maybe this one is D. The correct points are 5 points again. Click done. And then once you're done with your quiz, make sure you have everything correct. Make sure the total points are there for you. Then you can send out the quiz to your students. You can just click on send, and then you can either post this in the Google Classroom using the link. You can shorten the link if you don't want to copy and paste the whole thing. You can click a shorter link, and then you just copy that and you can paste that into the Google Classroom. Something else you can also do is make sure that once they've submitted, you may, sometimes I put a message there that just lets the students know that you've done a great job. So Don't worry. I don't know. I always put something smart alecky there for them just to make them laugh, especially when we're taking a test or we're taking a quiz. So there you go. You do that. You click send or to save. And then you go back to your Google Classroom. You put it in your Google Classroom. You put the link into your Google Classroom. So I'm going to go to the Google Classroom. Create quiz assignment, because you can create the Google form straight from the Google Classroom. But in this case, I already have a link. So what I do is I click on the link. I paste in my link, and then it saves itself. And then I create my title, my instructions, how many points. And then once the students are finished, it all goes through the Google Classroom. Okay, that's it.